Welcome to another episode of Moving to the DMV. I am your host, Kay. I appreciate you clicking on this video. Let me get the little plug out of the way. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, hit that little bell icon. Help me do them big numbers. I appreciate you. Now let's get into the video. Look, I'm going to do something that is counterintuitive today. I'm actually going to tell you why you should avoid moving to Virginia. Here are my 5 reasons why you should not live in the state, or rather, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Reason number 1, let's just get it out of the way right now. It is the cost of living. Look, Virginia isn't known for being the most affordable state. You've got to take into account the housing prices, the property taxes, and the overall cost of living. It all can be very, very high, especially in the more populous areas like Northern Virginia, the greater Richmond area in Central Virginia. And if you go along the coastline in the Virginia Beach and the Portsmouth, Norfolk area, there are a lot of situations in Virginia where you just might not be able to afford it, especially if you are on a tight or shoestring budget. You do need to take into account that Virginia is 26th in position for the amount of property taxes and income taxes that we pay in the entire nation. So take that into account. You might want to consider your options carefully when it comes to moving to Virginia. The second thing is traffic and commute. Look, let's talk about it. Virginia is notorious for its congested highways and long commutes, particularly around the Washington, D.C. area. It is very congested. Look, I'll tell you, as somebody that has lived in almost all parts of the state, the problem is it takes either a really long time to get somewhere or it takes a really long time to get next door. And that can be problematic for most people. Let me give you an example. If you want to live a little bit farther away in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., away from a populated area, and you want to be away from Arlington or Alexandria, you might have to go 30 minutes to 45 minutes west outside of the city, which means you have that much of a commute every day one way. Now, that may not be something that you're willing to come to terms with. And if you have to travel to other parts of the state, I'll give you another example. From Northern Virginia through the Fredericksburg I-95 corridor down to Central Virginia in Richmond is one of the most congested sections of I-95 in all of the eastern seaboard. If you have ever had to travel from Nova to Richmond or farther south into the 757 into that tunnel, trust me, it is not the easiest way to go. So be prepared to spend a significant time in traffic if you decide to call Virginia home. Number 3, look, Virginia is the South. Whether you believe it or not, summer in Virginia can be a real scorcher. The high humidity levels in Virginia can make the hot weather feel even hotter. And you can be even more uncomfortable if you are not a fan of sweltering summer days. You might not be in the right place. You got to think. We get 2 summers, or at least that's the joke between us Virginians, is that you get the actual summer and then you get a second summer where the fall is supposed to be. And that is definitely something that you want to take into account. So if you don't like heat, stay out of Virginia. Number 4 is the limited job opportunities. Now, I know you're going to say, oh, wait, but you're so close to Washington, D.C. And what if you live in Richmond, or what if you live in Virginia Beach? Well, yeah, you nailed it. Those 3 areas, if you're in the Northern Virginia area, if you're in the greater Richmond, Central Virginia area, or if you are on the coastline, that might be where you're isolated or localized in terms of your job opportunities. See, while there are great job markets in cities like Arlington and Richmond, other areas may not offer as many options, especially if you go out west towards the Shenandoah Valley area. We do got Appalachia out there, and even down southwest into the Danville area, there's a large part of the state that is scarcely populated and very, very rural still. So make sure to research your job prospects in your field, in your industry, before making the move. All right. And number 5 is natural disasters. And no, I'm not talking about the tag team from the 80s. I am talking about Virginia not being a stranger to natural disasters like hurricanes, tropical storms. And look, I'll tell you this, when I was in college, we even had an earthquake. So it's a normal part of life when it comes to living in Virginia. I have experienced it all. And if you're not prepared to deal with the occasional weather-related challenges, you might want to reconsider your options in terms of finding a place called home. Because let me tell you, while we do have all four seasons to a certain degree, if you're not up for it, you're going to have a bad time. What with the humidity and the storms and the earthquakes and the snowmageddons, stay away from Virginia if you're not up for any of that. And there you have it, folks. Virginia is a state that has a lot of wonderful qualities, but it is not the right fit for everyone. You got to consider the cost of living, the traffic, the weather, the jobs. You got to consider all of these things. Whether you're moving to Virginia or any other state, make sure you find a place that is based off of your personal preferences and your priorities. I hope that this video helped you. I'll see you guys on the next one.